Hey everyone, Chris here, the RC Geek, coming to you from the shop, and today we're taking a look at the FMS Rafale 80mm EDF. This is a really nice looking model. It's executed very well. You know, something about the French Deltas I really have an affinity for. For me, you know, it started with the Mirage 3, and that airplane alone is what has really attracted me to delta-winged aircraft as a whole. And so with respect to the Rafale, you've got, of course, the elevons on the back end, but you also have the moving canard on the front, and so that can add to the pitch maneuverability quite a bit depending on how it's utilized. With respect to assembling the model itself, extremely simple. It's all the major components and that's about it. And so that starts with the wings. You slide the wings onto the carbon spar. Those get held in place with 2 screws each, and then from there the dorsal drops into place, and that gets held with 2 screws as well. And then you just slide the canards over the pivot rods, and those are held in with a single set screw each. Works out fantastically, and that's pretty much it on the assembly. Now you've got the refueling probe there, the nice detail. It's all plastic, and also you've got the full assortment of external stores, and so you can obviously fly with those if you choose. You do lose a bit of the top end performance. The other thing I want to highlight is that the missile rails on the wingtips are actually plastic, and so that's a really nice feature that you don't typically see. Also, you've got full shock absorbing landing gear. They're scale, they look great, and so the mains actually also rotate as they retract, which is nice to see. And so yeah, now the model altogether, it looks fantastic. You know, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of the yellow scheme that they've chosen, but it is executed quite well, and it looks great. The finish is extremely smooth, and so yeah, it's really nice. Now, I did do one modification, and that of course is adding in simulated afterburner, and this is my 32mm in-runner multi-burner, which is designed for a single fan dual exhaust setup like the Rafale here. Looks awesome in the air. Also, the exhausts are oversized for the fan, and that actually creates quite a bit of drag. So I ended up designing and 3D printing an exhaust nozzle that just simply glues into place over the existing exhaust, and that reduces the area down to about 90% of the fan swept area, and there was a considerable increase in the performance. And so I do recommend that. You can download those files from my website, but otherwise, even just using a plastic cup and doing a similar kind of thing, you can do that too if you don't have a 3D printer. Now, with respect to the controls, there's a few things to mention. All of the servos run through a kind of a junction box, if you will, which provides all of the mixing automatically. What that means is when you set up your radio, you want to be in, you know, just a standard model with a, you know, wing and tail type setup. You don't have to go with tailerons or elevons, anything like that. Now, with that said, there's one thing to be aware of, and that is that the model has a quote-unquote flap feature. And so what that does is it kind of ticks up the canards a bit, but then it puts in a crow kind of configuration at the trailing edge of the wing. So you've significantly reduced your pitch effectiveness from the elevons as a result of that fixed cambered inboard surface. So I don't recommend using that feature. That being said, when you set the model up, if you find that the inboard surface isn't moving, what you have to do is you have to go in and set up your flap setup, and so once you've done that, that whole trailing edge should move. That being said, with respect to the controls for the ailerons, 10mm up and down with 8% expo. For the elevators, 20mm up and down with 10% expo. And the canard is automatically mixed through that junction box, and it moves up and down 7mm at the leading edge. And for the rudder, 21mm left to right with 25% expo there. Now, I am using a Roaring Top 6250 battery that works great in the airplane. With that battery pushed all the way back in the battery area, my CG falls out to about 120 millimeters as measured from the wing root leading edge aft. And so that falls about right in the middle of the specified CG range in the manual. With the CG at the 120mm mark, I was really happy with it. Now, flying the airplane, I really didn't know what to expect from the model, and it flies awesome. I was really impressed by it. It looks great in the air. It's actually a very characteristic look that you do kind of have to get a little used to. But the size of the airplane for the 80mm fan, it's a really nice size, so it presents really well in the air. Got, you know, nice big verticals. The speed is decent. It sounds good. And so, yeah, I really like the airplane a lot. Also, with it being the Delta, you've got the advantage of being able to do these really cool slow speed, high alpha passes. You pull on the elevator, get that nose up, and just use the throttle to keep you going, and it looks awesome. Now, the airplane will chew through a battery pack fairly quickly. My timer set at 3.5 minutes, and that's my indication to set up for landing. So in-air time is maybe closer to 4 minutes maybe, and so definitely wouldn't want to go any more than that with that 6250 battery. And also with the stores on, it looks awesome, but it does get a bit draggier. And interestingly enough, I noticed that with the full stores, I had to actually give it a bit of down trim, and so just keep that in mind as well. One thing I do want to mention, if you're not familiar with landing a Delta, you know, there is a pretty specific technique. They will slow down really nicely, but if you end up trying to glide it in, you'll end up hot and way past your mark. So the key is to get the nose up and control your rate of descent with the throttle, and that's exactly how they land the real ones. So let's take this out to the field. We'll give you guys 2 flights. I'll give you a flight clean with no stores at all, followed by a full stores flight, and then we'll come back, we'll wrap this up. That's when like everything really was growing. No, it doesn't. It's good. I think that people that just aren't dog people in general get nervous, and the dog's on the leash, I think it just prevents that from being a problem. Nothing. Well, I put it all the way down, so I was at full heading lock gyro, and I'm like, why is it fucking weird? As soon as I stop it, though.
good. Coming toward us. That's right. That's right.
All right, there we have the FMS Rafale. Really enjoying the airplane. It looks good. It's executed really well. It flies really nicely. And you know, being a Delta, they fly in a very characteristic way. And so as a result, you can do things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise with a traditional aircraft. Most notably, you know, those real nose high, slow speed passes, that high alpha. It'll do that all day long, and it's more than happy to stay there, and it won't stall or anything like that. And that's a result of how Delta Wings take advantage of a vortex that comes off of the leading edge. One thing I do want to reiterate, whatever you can do to reduce the exhaust nozzle size back there, that will help. And I also noticed that it flew more efficiently as well. So you could potentially get longer flight times from it too. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to follow along on social media at the RC Geek. Subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you at the field.